valuable company in the world right now is NVIDIA.
China gonna have to bow down, man. China is going to have to bow
down. Good evening, and welcome to...
Hey, good evening. Welcome to the Nightly Recap, hosted by Rob Nelson here on Goxstein News Network, bringing you everything latest, greatest, up to date. Get the hat thing to work right? Okay. Well, what's going on today in the world? A lot. Let's start out with this. Not going to have too many stories today. Going to pick just a couple. This is just an offbeat thing here. George Atkinson died. Now, you know who he is? Only if you're a big football fan would you know. He was 78, and he played for the Raiders in the late 60s. Well, he played like late 68 to like late 70s. And he was a member of what they called the Soul Patrol. So, you know, those of you who watch football now, everybody knows the Raiders are in Las Vegas and they're kind of a joke and everybody laughs at them and everybody has laughed at them. But back in the day, the Raiders were badasses. In the early 70s, they went to 5 AFC championships in a row. They were like the Kansas City Chiefs. One after the other, won the Super Bowl in 76, Super Bowl 11. And George Atkinson was part of this group. He was a linebacker, huge. I mean, they look big. They actually weren't as big as they are now, these guys, but they look bigger for some reason. And they're wearing less padding. And they called them the Soul Patrol. And he said, look, he was known because just how brutal the hits were from him. And he said, look, I never hit people to hurt them. I didn't want to hurt people. I didn't want them to be hurt. I didn't want to bust up their bones. But I did hit them, he said. But I did aim to hit them and hit them hard. Not to hurt them, but to hit them. It's an interesting thought. Not to hurt you, but to hit you. Well, there's a reason why I'm telling this story. And he said, if you don't want to get hit, not hurt, but if you don't want to get hit, then it's best not to show up on Sunday for the game because I guarantee you're going to get hit. Well, one, a football legend, considered just the nicest guy, which is also kind of fascinating, right? Like you're known for being this enforcer on the field. But, you know, people just remembered him as just like such a community guy and just out there for family, for members of the team. They're just really a Raider Nation guy all the way around. And it's considered just a really good person. But he didn't hit people to hurt them. But he was playing a game and he hit to hit. I'm going to hit you. I'm going to make you feel this. I'm going to make you not want to run into me. That's part of the game. Well, not the current game, yes and no. I mean, you can't barely touch a quarterback in the current game. But but I mean, football's a very violent game. And people, part of it is hitting hard is to dissuade people. You want to hit a wide receiver hard when they catch a ball so that they look away from the ball, so they guard against the hit. They might not want to reach up and get it next time. Quarterback's the same way. You want to intimidate them a little, like you're going to get hit hard. It's easy to say you don't care, but even when you're all padded up, getting hit by these guys, like getting hit by a train, it hurts. It's sort of like, you can see quarterbacks that are like, I don't want to get hit versus the ones who never take their eyes off downfield. They're just like, I know the hit's coming. I'm not looking. I'm connecting this pass and they'll take whatever punishment comes next. So the point being, I would make it in the world we live in. I'm kind of on a Donald Trump thing right now today because I'm seeing a lot of the stuff he's accomplishing. And I'm the first to say I'm not in all for Trump no matter what kind of person. And but I think that he also has a remarkably effective strategy, which I admire, of how to make things happen. And what he does is he hits hard, and whatever it is, he hits hard and to make a point, and then he gets a deal out of it. So the tariff thing with China is a good example. The tariff thing in general was a good example, like just putting the tariffs out on everybody, high numbers, hard hits. um, as a leverage tool. And I said at the time when he first did it, this is a bargaining tool. People, don't be stupid. He's not literally, he doesn't think the world works better if we just have massive tariffs on everybody. But he did think it works better if we have more fair reciprocal trade. So right now we're getting more tariffs on us and they're not getting them on the products they're selling to us. That's hurting US manufacturers, that's hurting US consumers. In the short term, consumers are benefiting because lower prices perhaps, but overall the economy's not benefiting and the the industrial base isn't benefiting. So, how do you fix that? Well, you jack up tariffs on them to the point that it's uber painful. Just this week with Canada saying, no more negotiations. You're not negotiating the way we want to negotiate. We're going to jack up tariffs on you. Canada can't sustain itself with those tariffs. The Canadian economy would collapse. We take a hit with high tariffs. Our economy wouldn't collapse. The US is Canada's singular biggest trading partner. If we put massive tariffs on stuff, their economy goes boom, it implodes. And they know it. China does not depend solely on us, but 100% tariffs would hurt. And he put a 100% tariff threat out on China. November 1st, 100% tariffs. The stock market went ballistic down. The crypto markets went ballistic down. But sure enough, just the other day, Sunday, Scott Bessent, the Secretary of Treasury, says we had secondary meetings, us and the vice premier and whatever in China, and they're going really well. And both sides have come to an understanding. We want to find mutual outcome here. We, China, don't want 100% tariffs on our stuff. So, okay, good. We won't do that. We, America, don't want you to put a massive export control ban on rare earth minerals, which we need. China's like, okay, we understand that. Great. We can all work together now. And China's president and Trump meet, and some form of a deal gets made. Trump hits hard. I don't think he hits to hurt. I think he hits to get an effective message through and then accomplish a goal. And so far, he's got a pretty good track record if you think about it. He did it with NATO, and everybody said, he was, remember in the first term, and he was destroying America's reputation, and the America was being viewed, as the worst possible way, and all our alliances were falling apart, and it was a disgrace, and he was destroying the world post-World War II order and disrespecting our allies in NATO and the system we'd come to trust and relied on and everybody needed. And the whole thing was just going shit down sideways bad. Cut to this NATO's Secretary General, Mark Rutte, General Rutte, saying relations between NATO members and us in Europe and the US have never been better, never been stronger. At one point, he called them Daddy Trump. Remember that? Made the media go nuts. You can only say they're kissing his ass for so long until you realize they aren't. I mean, they are and they aren't, but you could argue that with any leader. I've said that before. Did people kiss Obama's ass? Absolutely. Clinton's ass? Absolutely. Lyndon Johnson's ass? John F. Kennedy's ass? Absolutely. George Washington's ass? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do they kiss the king's ass? Absolutely. The queen's ass? Absolutely. Do they kiss the ass of whatever prime minister in whatever country they're in? Absolutely. Absolutely. Of course. That's part of politics in life. In general, people tend to kiss the ass of a person who is way high up with a lot of power that affects them. That's normal. That's human. The monkeys do it. Gorillas do it. Dogs do it. People do it all the time. Do you kiss the ass of your high school kids kiss the ass of the group leader in their tribe or their group or their clan or their gang? Of course. It's the way the world works. But you can only use that as an excuse for so long with the Trump stuff. NATO is better than it's ever been. It's more united. It's more allied. What changed? Trump said, enough with us paying for everything. You guys pay your fair share. Get off your asses. Pay your share. You're not paying your share because you want to make your constituents happy by giving them things. Instead of supporting our mutual defense effort, you let America take care of that, shoulder the burden. You give your people, cookies and candies, so to speak, and they're happier and they reelect you. And if shit comes down, we know you got our back, America, and you're paying for it. Well, what America couldn't do in that scenario was do the same thing for its people. So Trump was like, no, you want us there? You want us to show up? You want the red, white, and blue to show up with, full force? You pay your share, not your partial baby piece of your share that you're never, we'll pay it. We promise we'll up the payments next time, which they never did. Trump was like, you up them now. You move them up now. They're not even close to what they should be. Move them up. Not tomorrow, not next year, not in 5 years, right now, or say goodbye to the red, white, and blue. And people went nuts. Like, how could he? How dare he? Where are we now? Like I said, General Rutte, the head of NATO. Things have never been better. Europe is paying its share. We are more invested in the process. Because when you pay for something, it has more value. We have more ownership of it, and we are working closely with the United States in a way we never have. That's Trump hitting hard. That is George Atkinson, a Raider in the 70s, playing clean but hard football. And I think we've lost a lot of that. I think we've lost a lot of the, I don't know, like, I try to look at politics right now and just the divide in our country. I mean, Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high. Well, that's out the window. When they go low, we dive so far down, we're on the outskirts of hell. Like, I'm not saying Republicans go high. Republicans have often gone low, but right now the party that goes the lowest is the Democrats. They go low to low to low. They go low within their own ranks. That's the crazy part, right? It's not just they go low on Republicans. I mean, did they go low on Trump? They went as low as you could go, right? I mean, they absolutely go low on Republicans. Oops, my stupid notes just switched out of me. They absolutely go low on Republicans and on Trump, 100%. But they go low on their own. Look what they did to Biden. like a coup from within. They did it to Bernie Sanders first, right? They did it to Tulsi Gabbard. They took out whoever they needed to take out to get the person they wanted in. And they got Biden in, hit him in the basement for the campaign, dragged him out once in a while on stage, guided him around, made sure he didn't get lost, kept him up there, propped him up for 4 years. And they realized he couldn't work. What'd they do? They went low. They basically threw him under the bus. They got everybody and their neighbor of high profile, celebs, everyone to be like, Joe Biden's, it's the Mark Antony and Caesar. I come not to bury Caesar, but to praise Caesar. Come not to bury Caesar, but to praise Caesar. The whole time it's like riling them up to fucking take Caesar out, which they do, right? That's the famous speech. They're like, I come to praise him. Where he's saying, meanwhile, stab him, get him. That's what happened with Biden. Oh, Joe Biden is amazing. It's time his generational leader steps aside and lets the next generation take over in classic Joe Biden leadership form. He's given such a great service to this country, and now he's going to give an even greater act of service. Fall on your sword, Joe, right now. Greater act of service. Fall, Joe, on the sword. Fall on the sword. Joe's not falling on the sword. Stab him in the fucking back. Poor Binder, she couldn't take it. She had to leave the party. She'd never seen such betrayal, she said, as she lies about not ever noticing that Biden was ever a day less than, pump and going in his 20s. Guy's in the gym eating his Wheaties, running circles around everybody, staying up all night, typing, writing memoirs, intellectually just on a roll. Couldn't get enough meetings and phone calls in. The guy was going so fast. Binder lied, circle jerk back. Psaki lied. It is a circle jerk, to be honest. All of it is in there. But Binder couldn't take it. She was like, never seen such betrayal. I'm leaving the party. The Democratic Party is one story after another of people being stabbed in the back. They go low, so low, it's scary. So the point I go back to George Atkinson was, he was like, I didn't go low. I didn't hit people to hurt them. I didn't try to inflict hurt or injury or take people out of a game. I did hit them, though, to hit them. I wanted them to be worried and afraid of my hit because it was going to be hard. I'm going to hit you, and I'm going to hit you clean and hit you hard. That's okay. I'm fine with that in politics. I'm going to hit you hard and clean, but it's going to be hard. I am not saying, You know, politics is a blood sport in a way. I'm not saying, you know, it's like a fighting in a fight, a boxing match or a UFC fight. You know, it's clean, but it's violent and it's hard. People get bloodied up and hurt and, you know, concussions and stuff. It's but there's a way to have a clean fight and a not clean fight, right? Biting somebody's ear off, the Mike Tyson approach, not clean. You know, punching them so hard, so fast that they go down on the ground, clean. um, so I can acknowledge that politics is brutal and ruthless, and you know, but there's a way to do it clean and there's a way to do it dirty. And I used to say the Republicans were the party that played dirtiest. Not anymore. The Democrats absolutely play the dirtiest, hands down, no question. And I used to always say the Republicans were the biggest hypocrites. I mean, I mean this like in the 80s and 90s especially. I would always say Republicans were more hypocritical than Democrats were more, you know, they're talking out both sides of their mouths. They were the uptight. They were the party of censorship. They were the party that should be standing for free speech, but they were against it when it was anything against conservative Christian type values. They were the uptight party. It was the whole joke. The conservative anti-gay congressman who would get found in the bathroom having anonymous sex. It's not made up. I mean, this shit happened, right? It was a couple times. That's the Democrats now. I mean, Bill Maher says it all the time. That's the Democrats. The roles got switched. That's the Democrats. That's what they do. They literally, they're so full of it. They're so hypocritical. I mean, Kamala Harris was the embodiment of it, kind of saying one thing and changing it, doing one thing, saying, and I mean, the COVID started all that, right? Gavin Newsom's, all that, saying one thing, doing another. The Fauci's. Is Fauci ever going to go to jail? People realize, who knows, it's a sidebar, but that guy's a literal crook. Like he didn't just lie to Congress. He lied to the American public. He lied for his own benefit. I don't know if that was all financial or just ego to be Mr. Fauci king. He was God. He was COVID God, right? Think about it. The whole world shut down. Everything's, you tell people what, you tell the government, the US government what to do. You're not president. You've never been elected for shit. You go in and say, excuse me, thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Mr. President, Madam Vice President, thank you all. I'm here. I'm here to tell you we don't wear masks. The entire country masks up. We don't need to wear masks. Entire country unmasks. Everybody needs a shot. Entire country goes and gets a shot. He literally was telling the United States, which was the leading nation in the world, most powerful, what to do. He was in the power high of power high. You see how he light up and going on the talk shows and Sunday morning talk shows? You could see it just bursting with, like, he loved being the center of attention. He loved the media spotlight. He loved being at all the events. It was like, you could see it. He glowed with it, you know? He wasn't like a Winston Churchill, like in the trenches, like, we're in a friggin' war here against this horrible disease. I'm broken. I'm sad. I go home and cry every night. I go home and cry. It's so painful. I don't even want to have to be here on television. He's like, oh, another interview. Oh, yes. Happy to be here. Good morning, America. It's such a crock of shit. The guy, and he lied. He lied and he profited. That's called dirty, playing dirty. And I don't even think we know the full extent of the lies. I mean, how much he clearly knew we were doing, he knew we were doing, research. Okay, I don't be careful what I say here. The U.S. clearly had, the U.S. government had investments in projects that were tied to what would lead to, the form of function or whatever you call it, that would lead to in the Wuhan labs, that would lead to, could lead to a COVID. You're trying out really dangerous things to see what they would be and try to come up with antidotes to them. And we know form of function, gain of function, which is a gain of function. And we know we're involved in them, and they denied it and lied about it. I think they knew I think they knew right away it came out of the lab in Wuhan. I think they were immediately scared that we might have some fingerprints connecting to it. I think they even might know or suspect whether it was intentionally released or accidentally released. I think they know all of it. I think Fauci knew all of it. Fauci just lied, and he should go to prison for committing the greatest crime you could commit, which was literally to impose, to lie and hide about such a huge catastrophe, and then to impose on an entire nation, the biggest, most powerful nation in the world, to impose on that nation this strict, dogmatic approach to, again, I just want to go, I know I'm going way off track here, but a terrible disease that, as a friend of mine who was a very good pediatric ER doctor said, one of the crazy things about COVID is, at the time he said, it doesn't hurt kids. It's like, it's, if there's any blessing in this disease, unlike the flu, which is a non-discriminatory, COVID didn't like kids. It went for older people and sick people. And the handful of under 18, I think the number was 300 under 18-year-olds who died of COVID. It's a tiny number. Were already immunocompromised already. I mean, COVID didn't go after kids. Just didn't like them. It's like a horrible, ruthless disease, but at least it was like, we'll spare the kids. We'll get the oldest people first, and then the least healthy in the middle. And it'll be a brutal death for them, but, we'll spare the kids. They knew this. I knew this. I knew this in 2021, 2022. Anthony Fauci knew this. He knew the kids weren't going to get hurt by COVID. They all knew it. I talked to some leading ER doctors in California at major institutions, one of whom I was like, will you come on my show at the time and talk about this? And he's like, I can't, because I will lose all my jobs. The industry, I will lose all my credentials. I will be shut down. But the truth is, the best thing we could do is let the youth population of America out. Some of them will get it. They will create herd immunity. None of them will die. Everybody knew it, including Dr. Fauci. It is the greatest lie you could tell, the greatest crime you could commit. And the damage is generational. We messed up an entire generation, learning-wise, socializing-wise, giving them mental health problems. I remember being in Jacksonville during the pandemic, doing a town hall with, Jacksonville's a huge city, by the way. People don't realize it. I think it's one of the top 10 biggest cities in America, and very racially diverse, doing a town hall with them, kids from schools all across, all spaced, socially spaced, because can't let anybody get near the COVID disease, except if you're sitting at a table, in which case you can take your mask off, sitting at a table with people 2 feet away from you. However, should you get up and walk across the restaurant to go to the bathroom, theoretically not face-to-face level with other people, you must put your mask on. That's the absurdity of what we did. Anyway, these kids every single one of them was dealing with severe mental health issues. They weren't making it up. Whether they were clinically diagnosed or not, when I asked how many people deal with this kind of stuff, every hand in the room went up. We had the head of the school system board there. She was shocked. They had a mental health Mondays or Wednesdays day. And I said, what do y'all think about that? Everyone said it's a joke. She was shocked, like every hand, like they weren't treating, because these kids were going through so much, watching the world already chaotic and crazy. Then everybody's in lockdown. Everybody's in masks. I mean, what do you expect them to feel? We messed their heads up, and Fauci knew it. And the pharmaceutical companies were in on it, lying, to pretending the vaccine worked when it didn't work, pretending it stopped you from getting a disease it didn't stop you from getting, pretending it stopped you from transmitting a disease it didn't stop. Do you ever think about that? The vaccine that they still tell people to take, A, never stopped people from getting the disease, B, never stopped them from transmitting the disease. What did it do? Well, their final thing was, well, it makes it not as bad. No one's ever proven that, by the way. I don't know if it does. Ivermectin made it not as bad for me. I was over it in 48 hours. I don't know. And I was a smoker. So I don't even know, if it actually made it not as bad. But I do know it didn't keep you from getting it or transmitting it. And they still made everybody get it and get boosters and look the other way when all kinds of kids still start dropping dead on fields everywhere in America. Healthy 17, 18, 19-year-old athletic boys dropping dead of heart attacks just like that out of the blue. You notice the number of stories? You hear about them all the time during COVID, after COVID, you still hear about them. What do you think that's about, huh? Might it be about the things that, like Dr. Robert Malone and company said would happen to young boys' hearts if they took this vaccine, which he helped develop the basis, the mRNA technology underneath this vaccine? Malone helped develop it. He wanted actually to have it be a cure for cancer. He just didn't like the fact that they used it for this. All the anti-vaccine people who were against the COVID vaccine that got derailed by the left and the media and the social platforms, they all wanted this for good. Dr. Malone helped develop the technology for mRNA because he wanted it to solve diseases. He helped cure the Ebola vaccine was partly his doing. He just said, you're doing it the wrong way with this, and you're going to hurt more than you will help. For that truth, he got deplatformed until he went on Joe Rogan, who replatformed him with 30 million people. And now he's doing very well with he and his wife, Jill, with a massive Substack thing. But, you know, at the time I said to Malone the night before he went on Joe Rogan, he called and asked me, you know, any thoughts, advice. And I said one thing. I was like, you know, when you go on Rogan, say, you know, just say, you know, what if, even if I'm wrong about this stuff, Joe, and of course, Malone being brilliant and so clear about what was and wasn't true, he goes, but Rob, I'm not wrong. I'm like, I know, but just pretend. He's like, but I'm not wrong about what I'm saying. I'm like, I know, but just say you are. But I'm not wrong. Right? Because he wasn't. He was right. But I'm like, I know. But say hypothetically, if you're on Rogan and say, even if I was wrong, even if I was, since I'm one of like a dozen people who helped create this technology that then led to the vaccine that got built on it, wouldn't you want me in the conversation? Even if I'm wrong, wouldn't you want me in the conversation? When Joe Rogan was like, that's true. Like, even if you're wrong, wouldn't we want the 12 people who like were there at the beginning, the creation of this stuff, to at least have a voice, even if we then go, don't agree with you? No, we're going to silence you because we don't like what you're saying. And it all came true. That's where we're at as a world, as a society, folks. And I didn't mean to go off on this whole long thing. I was actually going to talk about Mandani, but I'll end it with Mandani. But actually, no. I'm going to actually go to Virginia. This is again the sort of the world we live in. There's a governor's race in Virginia, and it's between Abigail. I will say her name wrong. Abigail Spanberger, who worked for the CIA, and it was a state rep in Virginia. And she's running against the current Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears, a Jamaican immigrant and a Marine, served as a Marine. Now it's interesting. Either way, whoever wins this race, Virginia will have its first female governor. It's interesting, right? One of the oldest states never had a female governor. So that's going to be a historic first. Again, I'm not big on the identity stuff, but I always like pointing it out because those who are only seem to point it out when it works to their favor. So if Winsome Earl Sears wins, she will be the first. Well, she will be the first Black female governor, first female and Black female, but she also is the first Black female nominee in the categories of. So she's the first woman who's Black who's running for governor. No Black woman's ever run for governor before. So if you're in the identity politics side of this stuff, y'all better get on the bandwagon and go fight for her. I don't care how Democratic you are. You better vote for her because she's a Black woman. She's the first Black woman to run for governor. And she will be the first Black female governor in one of the states that was the birthing place of slavery. So, you don't just get a white woman governor. No. That's like a slave governor. Get the Black woman out of Virginia. The rise of slavery came from Virginia and the founding fathers and Jefferson and all that. They all had their slaves there. Like, take it down, baby. Put a Black woman in charge. Man, can you imagine bringing those guys back from the dead? Can you imagine even Jefferson, all those guys on their high horses and whatever, can you imagine bringing all of them back and being like, and they're like, who's this? Who does she belong to? She actually runs your fucking state, dude. She's in charge. You fucking, she's your boss. She's the big bitch in town now. They'd be like, aha, that's funny. No. She's the Commonwealth of Virginia she is the top chief executive of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Yeah, that Black woman that you would have made a slave. Man, that is the ultimate FU to all that. So every liberal out there should literally be going, get this woman elected, because you know what? We are going to make a statement one more time that, enough of not just a woman being governor. We want a black woman being governor, and that is going to be a statement we can stand behind and be proud of. We put a black woman. We don't need to tear down a statue. We're going to put a black woman in power. What's Obama doing? Campaigning for the white woman. Huh. So interesting, the hypocrisy. I just made a great argument, right? If you're big on the identity politics, this should be the and Obama did, right? Remember during the election with Trump and Kamala Harris, he went out and told the black people. I actually here, I even looked it up. I want to say that it seems to with the brothers. So if you don't mind, I'm going to speak to y'all and say that when you have a choice that is this clean, when on the one hand, you have somebody who grew up like you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and the pain and joy that comes from those experiences, referring to Kamala Harris, and saying that Trump has not had that. Why are you thinking about sitting out? Obama said, and he said, "I want to speak to men directly. You're not comfortable having a woman as president. You need to go vote for this black woman." Is what Obama was saying. Go vote for the black woman. Period. Done. Get off your butts. Go vote for the black woman. Almost doesn't matter what she's about. She's about being a black woman, and that's why you vote for her. I'm sorry. Why are you telling everyone to go vote for the white woman right now? She's got different color parties. She's wearing the blue, not the red, not the blue. She's wearing the red suit. So you don't vote for the red suit? She's the black woman in the red suit. So you vote for the black woman, right? Who understands the experiences, not the white woman who doesn't. Right, Obama? You tell people go out and vote for Earl Sears. Winston Earl Sears. She knows, she's been there, and she's struggled and had the pain, the suffering, the experiences that you've all had and can relate to. And she served. You go vote for her. You put the black woman in the red suit in office, in power, right? No. Vote for the white woman in the blue suit. All hypocrites. All of them hypocrites. Every Democrat out there, if you ever want to make an argument for me about the need for diversity and for more inclusiveness and why it makes sense and why it's okay to have like even gender or race-based admission stuff or whatever, then get your ass off the ground. Tell everyone you know in Virginia, no matter how Democrat left they are, to go vote for Winston Earl Sears. That's walking the walk, not just talking the talk. Thanks for watching the Nightly Recap. I'm Rob Nelson. I will see you on Wednesday.
Valuable company in the world right now is NVIDIA.
China gonna have to bow down, man. China is going to have to bow down.
Good evening, and welcome to